The Bible is full of prophecies that captivate the imagination, but few are as intriguing and as debated as the prophecy of the 10 nations. Found in the books of Daniel and Revelation, this prophecy speaks of a coalition of 10 kings or nations that will rise in the end times under the influence of the Antichrist. But could this prophecy be unfolding right before our eyes? Could today's global alliances and crises be paving the way for the fulfillment of these ancient visions? By the end of this exploration, you'll see why this isn't just ancient history, it's happening now. Let's begin with the foundation. What does the Bible actually say about the 10 nations? The vision first appears in Daniel 7, where the prophet sees 4 beasts, each symbolizing a kingdom. The final beast is described as terrifying and dreadful, unlike anything before it. This beast has 10 horns, representing 10 kings or nations. In Daniel 7 verse 24 we read, "The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this kingdom." Centuries later, the Apostle John received a similar vision in Revelation 17:12, where the 10 horns are again described. "The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast." Both Daniel and John emphasize that these 10 leaders will rise to power together, forming a coalition that supports the Antichrist global rule. They will temporarily unite to create a system that opposes God and persecutes his people. However, their alliance will ultimately crumble, making way for God's eternal kingdom. But here's the big question: are these nations forming today? To understand how this prophecy might play out, we need to revisit Daniel 2, where King Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a statue made of various materials: gold, silver, bronze, iron, and clay. The feet of the statue, made of iron mixed with clay, represent a kingdom that is partly strong and partly brittle. This imagery aligns perfectly with the 10 nations prophecy. The coalition will have great power, symbolized by iron, but internal divisions, symbolized by clay, will make it unstable. Think of the European Union as a modern example. While it appears unified on the surface, internal divisions over politics, economics, and sovereignty reveal its fragility. Could this foreshadow the type of coalition described in the Bible? Over the past century, the world has seen an unprecedented rise in global alliances. After 2 world wars, organizations like the United Nations and the European Union were formed to promote peace and cooperation. Today, we also see powerful regional coalitions like ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations in Asia, the African Union in Africa, the Arab League in the Middle East. These alliances are reshaping economies, trade, and even military strategies. While they aim to promote unity, they also create dependencies and vulnerabilities, which could set the stage for a future coalition of 10 nations. History shows that crises often lead to unity. Wars, pandemics, and economic collapses have a way of forcing nations to work together. Could a future global crisis act as the tipping point for the formation of the 10 nations? Imagine a scenario like a financial collapse that disrupts economies worldwide, leading to calls for a unified global currency. A cyber attack that cripples critical infrastructure, prompting nations to pool their resources. An environmental disaster that requires urgent and coordinated action. Each of these crises could pave the way for a global leader, the Antichrist, to rise, offering solutions that promise peace and stability, but come at the cost of sovereignty and freedom. Economic and technological systems are becoming increasingly interconnected. Digital currencies, like Bitcoin and CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, are reshaping how money works. Imagine a future where a unified digital currency becomes the foundation of the 10 nations coalition. With a centralized system, every transaction could be monitored and controlled, giving unprecedented power to those in charge. Revelation 13 describes the mark of the beast, a system where no one can buy or sell without allegiance to the Antichrist. Could the rise of digital currencies be laying the groundwork for this system? Even as alliances form, they remain fragile. Daniel's imagery of iron and clay reminds us that these nations will struggle to maintain unity. Brexit, for example, revealed the cracks within the European Union. Similarly, tensions within other alliances show how easily divisions can surface. This fragility might be the very thing the Antichrist exploits. By presenting himself as the solution to global disunity, he could gain the trust and allegiance of these nations, at least for a time. Revelation 17:14 tells us that these 10 nations will ultimately wage war against Christ, but they will not prevail. They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them because he is Lord of Lords and King of Kings. This prophecy reminds us that while the 10 nations may rise, their power will be temporary. God's kingdom, represented by the stone in Daniel 2 that crushes the statue, will endure forever. What does this mean for us? Stay watchful. Jesus warned us to watch for the signs of the times. While we don't know the exact timeline, the rise of global alliances and crises should prompt us to stay alert and grounded in Scripture. Pray for wisdom. Ask God for discernment to navigate these complex times. Whether it's understanding current events or making personal decisions, His guidance is crucial. Prepare spiritually. The 10 Nations prophecy isn't just about geopolitics. It's a call to deepen our faith and trust in God's plan. Jesus said in Luke 21:28, "When these things begin to take place, stand up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near." The 10 Nations prophecy is a powerful reminder of God's sovereignty over history. While the rise of these nations may seem daunting, we know how the story ends. Daniel 7:14 assures us, "His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed." As we watch these prophecies unfold, let's not respond with fear, but with faith. The world's kingdoms may rise and fall, but God's kingdom will stand forever. Share this message, stay vigilant, and take comfort in the promise of God's eternal reign.